doing what he does best, talking about the problem. Chris Duncan on his show.
What's up, man?
What's up, Chris? How are you?
What's up?
How was sparring today?
Good, thanks. Good. 4 rounds in the bag, and then I went and run 4 miles. So
Nice.
happy that's done.
Happy that's done. I love it.
Man.
I love it. My man, when the UFC Paris fight, all that came to be, some people love traveling to those sites. Sometimes they would love to fight at the Apex or less taxes, all that stuff. Did it matter to you, or you're just happy? Of course, a pretty big card. I think the card's absolutely stacked, by the way, too. Are you just pumped to be on another big card, UFC Paris?
The good thing for this is it's quite close to home, so I'll travel back maybe 4 days before I have to go to fight week with UFC. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, 2 birds, 1 stone, as they call it back home. That I'll get to go home for a couple of days, get the kind of comfortabilities of my family, get to eat the food that I'm used to, have my car. That's another one. So like I'll go home and enjoy time with the family, and then I don't need to spend fucking, sorry for swearing, but the full week there at fight camp. So I can go as late as Tuesday, and then the week goes in really fast, because there's nothing worse hanging about the hotel room waiting on interviews, all that sort of stuff. So, and also, let's be honest, you don't get a choice where you go. Sean Shelby tells you where to go and tells you when to turn up. So, yes, boss.
And I believe you're opening up the card this time, right? First fight on the card. You love that? You're happy to? That's my question. You're happy to be done early?
So happy. To be honest, like I like going in, seeing the arena empty, having a quick walk around the cage, getting the feel for the cage, and then getting the job done in spectacular fashion, and then getting up the road. And I don't even think I'm going to stay and watch the fights. I think I'm just going to go home. I have another teammate of mine, Robert Whiteford, who's fighting on PFL. So I'm probably going to go back and watch that fight. I'm just going to shut off from all the outside world and enjoy the moment.
Love it.
After your win, of course, after your win, my man, someone just put it in the comment section here, and us, of course, L more than ever with being at the gym and stuff. You became quickly a fan favorite, Chris. Like, people cannot wait for your fights. Your fighting style, of course, is a very fan friendly. Is that like cool to you when you hear that? Do you not care at all? Do you care just about winning, money, family? Like, is that a cool thing? Like, yeah, that is awesome that the fans, come for my fights, want to watch my fights.
No, definitely. That's great to hear that. Deep down inside, I always remember watching a couple of videos online of a guy. It was a young disabled child going into the ring with Tyson Fury at one point, and it was you could just see in the kid's eyes it was his dream to be in the cage. So it's good that I can inspire others, and deep down inside, I want to inspire other people to obviously chase dreams and other things like that. But mainly, like my fighting style is changing every fight camp. That's why I'm called the problem. So I'm in the gym with these killers every single day. So I'm looking to adapt and bring out different things when it comes to different fights and show my true skill set. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to fighting and the MMA, if you're good at one attribute, it's just not going to cut it anymore with these high level guys, So you constantly need to be upskilling, getting better, working on your grappling, working on your striking, work down your defense, also nutrition, strength and conditioning. This is a crazy sport. There's so many ways to win and lose. So you need to be upskilling every single camp.
I totally believe that. I got one more, L, then you definitely take it away. You mentioned kind of a kid watching Tyson Fury living the dream. I guess just when you said that, I'm going to ask you maybe a bluntly question. Are you living your dream, Chris? Is this like, can you ever imagine, yeah, man, I'm UFC fighting on the biggest promotion in the world, providing for the fan? Like, are you absolutely living out your dream right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Since before I could even remember, when I started MMA in 2014, the end goal was always in the back of my mind to become, get into the UFC. And, every time I blew out candles, every time I seen a shooting star, every time I put something in a well, I would always say, I want to be in the UFC. So, affirmations are true, or affirmations work. If you constantly tell yourself you want to be something, it will turn out like that. I'm never big on shouting it to people. I've never been that way. I've never been like, I'm going to be in the UFC. I'm going to be UFC champion. And like, it's just never was the case. I always keep true to myself and put in the work, because at the end of the day, like, a lot of these guys get their confidence from the work that they put into the gym and their skill set. So I'm constantly getting better and constantly evolving as a fighter. So yeah, it's great. I'm living my dream. Like, now when I blow out candles, it's a different dream. I've got another one, but it's amazing that I can say that I've accomplished that. But I'm far from done. I've got so much more to give. And since joining the American Top Team, I've got better every single day.
Beautiful. Elle?
You've just been talking about developing, adding tools. Obviously, coming off this tough loss to Manuel Torres, you thought you were going to be fighting again much sooner than this fight. Had some complications there, and now we're here, and like, this fight's coming up. What have you added to the toolbox this time? What are the developments this time?
So, in regards to the developments this time, like, there's things like silly things like I've written on my phone that, remembering how, like, I had quite a big weight cut when it came to Manuel Torres. So things that I decided to do out of camp were make sure my weight was a little bit lower coming into fight time. Instead of starting 8 weeks out, maybe start 12 weeks out. So that was a big thing for me. Also trying to enjoy the process a little bit more, because sometimes I'm so stuck in the mud when it comes to I want to win, and I don't think about anything else other than that. It kind of ruins my progression. So that, and also I'm working a lot on my defense, and I'm constantly working on my grappling, because I've got some good grappling skills, but I'm not niche. I've got good power. I'm a decent striker, but my grappling always has room for improvement. So that's something that I always will, and will always enjoy. I always enjoy it. To be honest, I actually prefer grappling than I do striking when it comes to the actual enjoyment part of it. But I seem to get on better with striking. So, and I seem to get less tired. So I'm probably a little bit more efficient when it comes to that. But those are just a few things that this camp that I've been working on.
And obviously a very different opponent in Balaji Oki than last time out. Is there anything in particular that you see that he does wrong, or areas where you can expose him?
Yeah, he definitely drops his hands a little bit on the disengage and stuff like that. His grappling doesn't seem up to much. Quite flat-footed as well. So going to capitalise on these three things. So if he's watching, better watch out.
I love that. You mentioned American Top Team a couple times, of course, and Elle and everything training there, and with Grant Dawson and stuff. Is there something that the main person or the casual MMA fan, someone's just watching the UFC every now and then, something or someone, a fighter or a fighting style, you're like inside that gym, like, because people like, let me just throw out Grant for instance. Grant, when he fights on the UFC, they know his dominant wrestling is how heavy he is on people, but maybe in the gym, his striking is like, dude, I didn't realize how goddamn good Grant Dawson's striking is. Is there something like that, or some fighter in the gym you're like, guys, we all know Moicano is great, but people tell me all the time, Moicano is world level, like he is champion type of level. Is there someone in the gym or something that's underrated that maybe the casual doesn't know?
Well, to be honest with you, when it comes to the bright lights of the UFC, it's very difficult to put everything together. So you can always have your A game in the gym. Sometimes you just turn up because it's like a normal day in the job or whatever. Everybody's got these skill sets that they're working on, and sometimes it just takes the athlete for the confidence to be able to try that in the octagon. A big thing for me is when it comes to fighting. Like footballers, rugby players, hockey players, they get a chance to play every single weekend, whereas we only get to play and do the thing that we love every 3-4 months, maybe sometimes a year, depending on how we've been matched up or when we've been matched up. So it's a difficult thing to say, because everybody's evolving and always trying to upskill when it comes to that. But off the top of my head, I can't really think about anything. Like in this gym, people are on their A game, so you tend to see it all. But everybody's upskilling, and like I try and explain to everybody that doesn't come to American Top Team that it's like a big pot, and we're always planning and building something in that pot and stirring it and making sure it's getting better. And people don't realize that, you know, like MMA is evolving so greatly over the last couple of months and years. Like, it's so niche now. Like, it's not like the striker versus the grappler anymore. It's just so vast. There's so many ways to win and lose.
Crazy. Elle?
I was talking to Chris a little bit earlier this week, and you have a new baby boy at home. So
congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Obviously, you told me you had to leave to come here for camp when he was only 6 weeks old, right?
Correct.
So how has that process been, just being away, and speak on that a little bit? Because I know it's a big thing to travel all the way across the ocean to come here for camp and miss out on a lot of that.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult. I feel a little bit detached from him himself. Obviously, I still love him and stuff like that, but you miss out on the bond that you get, that newborn bond that I got with my daughter. 1 minute you want to strangle them, next minute you want to cuddle them. So it's like, that's the bond that you make. And unfortunately, these are the sacrifices that I need to make, because this career is super short. I don't want to be doing this forever. You know, I'm getting punched in the head, big bruises on my eyes and stuff like that. That was actually a knee in wrestling, believe it or not even sparring. It was a knee in the face in wrestling. But, you know, it's not good for your body, this. So I'm going to try and cash in pretty early, try and make a statement, get right up there, get into the top 10 is the next goal. You know, and we'll take it from there. But, you know, I miss my family greatly, but it's a massive motivation for me to be able to supply and help my family with their life. So, you know, it's another notch in my belt that I want to do. I want to try and retire my girlfriend so she doesn't have to work anymore. She can look after the kids, and potentially, you know, I bring her over here eventually, like weeks, and then I don't need to go home and miss them as much.
I always ask this question especially when I hear the daughter thing. I have 2 daughters of my own, Chris. If your daughter walks up to you when 15, 18,
yes.
12, whatever.
Yes.
Okay.
It's happening. Yeah, she's very strong-willed as it is. She likes to fight. Unfortunately, we've had a little bit of problem with nursery, but it is what it is. I try my best not to take that out of her, because sometimes, like when I was younger, I was kind of judged on, like, I'm not a great talker. I'm not good at arguing. I tend to deal with things physically and violently, unfortunately, and that was just my demeanor. It took me a long time to be able to control it and understand it, but sometimes that's just the working of the world. Some people have attributes like being able to talk and defuse situations, but my daughter has that fire, and you can't take that out of them. You know, there are many businesses these days that are looking for enthusiasm and energy, and in the school try and rip that from you. Sit down, stop fidgeting, you know, stop doing that, stop speaking up, you know, stop being so energetic. You know, they try and pull that from our children. So I'm going to encourage that, because the more energetic and the more she can give to a job when she goes forward is going to be better for her, because she has energy and enthusiasm. So I'm going to push that massively.
I love that. I really do love that. I respect the hell out of that. That's awesome. Guys, Chris, Duncan, UFC Paris, couple weeks away. The UFC is off this week. They just had a major show at UFC Noche, off this week. Week after that, Benoit St. Denis and Moyo Kano will headline UFC Paris. Our guy Chris Duncan's on the show. Elle, anything else? If not, want to let Chris run, man. Appreciate his time immensely. Anything else, Elle?
No, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. Super looking forward to it. You're heading out back home here in 2 days?
Yep, that's it.
Hopefully I'll get to see you before then, but if not, safe travels and best of luck, man.
I'm sure I'll see you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it, brother. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
There we go. Chris Duncan. Stud. Absolute